Welcome to Uncaged from talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. It is a pleasure to once again be in your company, in the company of the one and only Mr. Brendan Loughnane. We're going to get stuck into lots from the weekend just gone. Obviously, in the UFC in Louisville, we had a controversial finish in the main event. We've got a new signing in the UFC coming over from Rising. Does that mean that the UFC are back off to Japan? And of course, we'll be talking about all things Newcastle. First and foremost, whereabouts in the world are you today, mate?
Mate, Thailand as always. You know me, Adam. Why even ask me that? You know, am I in Thailand or America?
Well, you go to Dubai every now and again, bit of warm weather and all that type of stuff. I know what you're like, my man. Did you speak to Alexander Volkanovski last week to set up a fight? Is basically what I want to start the show.
The Poirier fight. Which one are we? There's so many on the table. Tell me.
Mate, you were basically saying that you're going to go back to the mats to see if you could set up the Poirier, BMF, Volkanovski, or even Volkanovski stepping in at 303. You were trying to get him a knock last week.
Nah, we had that chat, mate. There've been no more stepping in. He's learnt his lesson from that one. Fair play to him.
Nice one. Listen, I'm going to come back to everything that's going on in Thailand because there's a couple of fighters that I would like to suggest for a newbie in the UFC a little bit later on. But let's get stuck straight into what happened in Newcastle, shall we? On Saturday night, the PFL rolled into town. Loads of local talent on show. Headlined by our first guest. That's right, it's not just me and Brendan this week. We're going to bring somebody in that rock'em sock'em robots the living daylights out the utility arena on Saturday night, making her MMA debut. The undisputed champion at 168 in the world of boxing. 4-ounce gloves. Blooming out, you can hear them shots from my living room, let me tell you. The one, the only, Savannah Marshall. Look at that smiling face. How are you? You well?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm alive. So that's good enough for me.
Listen. What's the last year for you been like? Because it's kind of a year to the day of you becoming the undisputed champion at 168 pounds. And I know that you maybe had a few fights in boxing lined up, but you proper embraced MMA. You threw yourself fully in. You were on the mats regularly in the Aspinall gym. What's that year been like learning a new discipline?
It's just went in a flash. I just cannot believe that it's 9 months I've been training with Andy now, and honestly, it feels like about 4. And I put that down to purely just enjoying it and having fun. Time flies when you're having fun.
Brent, did you catch up with Savannah's performance on Saturday night?
Of course I did. I was super impressed. I'll tell you why. I mean, it's very easy for a boxer to say, I'm going to come over to MMA, right? But it's another thing to actually do it. And then it's another thing to actually do it the way you did it. So I just want to congratulate you. I thought you looked great. Your hands looked sharp, mustard, perfect performance.
Oh, thank you very much. I remember before I went in there, Tom had said to me in the changing rooms, look, it's not like boxing. They start fast. They start really fast. It's not like you go in there, you feel your range, you get your jab going, 3 rounds in, they pick up the pace. And Jesus God, he was right. I knew they'd start fast, but I struggled with, but I was taken back by the pace. It was literally kill or be killed. That's how I felt.
You look like you enjoyed it though, because you got straight into it, mate. You didn't mess about, did you?
I had no choice. First 10 seconds, leg pick, buckled my leg. I was on the floor. I remember being on the floor, right, and I'd just seen this knee, and she must have missed my head about that much. And I thought, Jesus Christ, welcome to MMA.
Is the most satisfying thing, though, from your point of view? Listen, we all know you can strike. We all know that you got incredible power. But what's the most satisfying thing for you, given the fact that you've been working with Joe, working with Andy, working with Tom, as you've just mentioned, that when you were taken down by a purple belt from the world of jiu-jitsu, it was a matter of seconds before you were bouncing back to your feet? That must be incredibly satisfying.
Yeah, I was really happy with that, and I felt strong on the floor as well, which was a good thing. The thing I was a bit disappointed with, because these past 9 months I've worked really hard on altering my boxing style to suit MMA, and I felt straight away, as well, it's first 10 seconds I was in deep waters, I think I kind of resorted back to my boxing stance. So it was just instinct had kicked in. But when you think I've boxed for 20 plus years and I've done MMA for 9 months, but that was the thing that I was a bit disappointed with, because I'd worked so hard on changing my stance, not squaring up a bit more, that type of thing. So I was a bit disappointed there, but I was happy with my groundwork, really happy.
Brad, that's got to be the thing, hasn't it? At the end of the day, you two are fighters. It's natural. There's natural instincts within you when you're coming out of one discipline, being thrown into another.
Yeah.
When someone boots you on the leg, you're automatically going to go in your head, "We're having a scrap now." Sound. I'm going back to automatic mode.
Well, I'm interested because I've actually done both as well. I had a boxing match, only one, but I found it so different with the range, the timing, the training. It's so different. So I just wanted to ask you, what did you find hardest about transitioning to MMA training wise?
That was it more changing my boxing style. Obviously, like bringing that front leg out, squaring up. But I struggled with the range because in boxing, you think you're out of range with the fists, but obviously the kicks are coming, so you think you're safe, but really you're not because there's a head kick coming, like there's a leg kick coming. So that's what I've struggled with, the range.
Well, I mean, you had the best coach, to have Tom Aspinall in your corner for your first fight, the heavyweight champion of the world. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't have had a better team. And obviously down there, look at the job that he's done with Tom. His dad's a great fella as well. I mean, you picked a perfect team, really, haven't you, to start off your MMA game with. I was actually speaking to Tom about you recently, and he said he can't believe how well you're coming on in such a short period of time. Well, that's just a natural fighter in you, I suppose. But moving on now, would you like to do both at the same time? How's it going to look?
At the minute, it's all up in the air. I think it's all about opportunities for me at the minute. There's not much left for me to do in boxing. There's really not, and it's a little bit hard for me to get up after you've, boxing the O2 in front of 20,000 people, undisputed title fights. I'm finding it hard to then go back to boxing, kind of challenges that really don't have a name. Shows where, not that I don't mind being co-main event or being lower down the card, but like a less of a big event. Whereas on Saturday, the fight week, everything, because it was the unknown, because the nerves were kicking in. That was totally different story. So I think in the next week it's all about chats to be had to see what's next for me. But I think I could maybe get away with doing this and then go back to boxing, but I don't want to focus on boxing training because, like I said, it's so easy for everything to just go out the window, what I've learned, and that's not really what I've set out to do. I want to be good at this. I know for a fine fact everyone I'm going to come up against, they're just going to bash my front leg and try and take me down. So I want to perfect that.
And as well as that, Savannah, I mean, it was obvious at the weekend because Claressa was there. She's made that transition over as well. There's a story there. There's a fight. There's a fight that I think excites a lot of fans. In the world of boxing, you've cracked the game. When you become undisputed champion, it's tick, really, isn't it? And that's no disrespect to anybody else that's in those weight divisions that you compete in. You've kind of clocked it. This is a whole new thing. And I think putting a new twist on the story of you and Claressa, you two doing it in a smart cage, you two doing it with 4-ounce gloves, I think excites the fans. And I know it excites you because obviously you were calling her out on Saturday night.
It is. It's a different narrative. And I know a lot of people saying that, look, it's just a boxing fight in 4-ounce gloves. But no, I don't. I want to get it to the floor. I think that fight comes up. I want to spend. I'll spend months and months of just practicing takedowns. Honestly, I don't want to stand and just fight her. I want to get her on the floor. I want to choke her out. Like I said, it's a different narrative. I know it's a lot harder than it just being said. But yeah, like I said, we've done it. We've done it stand up. No one's ever fought in the boxing ring and in the cage. So this is an opportunity for us to make a little bit of history.
Absolutely. Listen, hopefully it's going down that route. And I know that Claressa's got a fight in boxing where she's challenging for another world title in a different weight division. How were you at the weekend regarding weight? Because if you were to keep this going, there's going to be challenges for world titles, and I think maybe the earliest one that you could get to is 155. Is that too much of a push for you to get to 155, or is it realistic?
So I didn't actually think I'd make 160 again. So this fight on Saturday was at 160, and the last time I made it was 2 years ago. Obviously then I'd moved up. So to be honest, it was a push, and I've never ever made 155. So this is the whole reason why I'm really pushing the Clarissa fight, because it's going to be, I'm going to struggle to make the league.
Yeah.
Do you know? So look, the whole reason why I signed the whole PFL contract was for an opportunity to fight Clarissa in the cage, and really that still stands for me. Although I'd love to, go full throttle at it and maybe enter the European League. It's the weight for me, and you MMA fighters just make weight crazy. Honestly, there was guys and girls that week that were taking 5 kilo off on the morning, and they were saying to me, "How much have you got to get off?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to tell you. I only had a kilo," but that to me was just anxiety, and I was thinking, God, how 5 kilo on a morning, I couldn't put myself through it. I really couldn't. I had 1 15-minute off bath and I felt sick.
I mean, I've got all my boxer mates, all of them ring me regularly, like, mate, I've got a pound to lose, what should I do? I said, mate, go and spit in a cup, what you on about? Like, honestly, the weight cuts in MMA, it's just brought a whole different culture to the sport, because we're just doing stupid amounts. Boxers are doing barely anything, and it's like there needs to be kind of a happy medium now, don't there?
Oh, 100%, I get it, but I think in boxing it's where, especially if you have a title fight, you have check weights every couple of weeks, so you can't allow yourself to go really heavy. I think fight week you've got to be 3%, and then it comes down, and then it comes down again.
Right.
But just there, it was just, I couldn't get my head around it. I really couldn't. I couldn't put my body through it.
Was it just skeletons getting dragged onto the scale? Because that's what it usually is.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty heavy. To be fair, there was a young girl there, and I remember on the morning of the weigh-in, she was waiting to get officially weighed, and she couldn't speak English, but she was just begging to get on the scales because she was just so weak and frail, and it was just awful.
Just a welcome to MMA, that is.
Exactly, welcome to MMA.
Listen, it's a sensible decision from your part anyway to do this in a sensible way, and it works for Clarissa as well. I think you're both in and around the same thing, aren't you? So fingers crossed we get to see that. Would you like that this year? I'd
love that this year. I really would. I think in an ideal world, I'd like to have maybe another one, maybe 2, just for me to get used to the range, the pace, that sort of thing. But it's probably the same with you, Brendan. When you know yourself, when opportunities come up, you've just got to grab them with both hands, because before you know it, your opponent's injured or they've went down another route, that sort of thing. So I'm experienced like that. When something comes about and you know it's right, you've just got to grab it with both hands.
Yeah, when the money train's there, you got to jump on it. Clarissa's ready for it. You're ready. PFL are ready to put the dough on the table. So let's get it going as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Top stuff. Listen, Savannah, congratulations. It was brilliant. The fans came out. They looked like they had a whale of a time in Newcastle. And as you said, didn't have time to blink, did you? It was fast.
Honestly, I come out, I sat in the medical room getting checked over, and they were on about being in a head and arm choke and this and that, and I thought, have I literally just sat there. I give myself a minute and thought, what on earth has just happened there? It was literally just, all I can describe it as like fight or flight, kill or be killed.
Brilliant.
That is how, and even like watching it back, like it was like, even my boxing technique just went out the window. I remember thinking, right, I'm losing this round because I know a takedown overrides punches. And then a split second I thought, well, right, I'll be a round down, so then I've got to have to really draw it back the next 2 rounds. And I knew I'd hurt, and I just thought, just finish it, please, just finish it, get her out of there. It was just a bizarre, the most wildest 4.5 minutes of my life.
Mate, you look like you had a whale of a time, though.
I did.
Super. Listen, congratulations. Fantastic debut. there was a lot of obviously build up towards it, and it lived up to the expectation. Loads of fans are buzzing online to see what you do next, and fingers crossed that we can get that Clarissa Shields fight on for you, mate. Congratulations. Enjoy a bit of downtime. Looking forward to seeing you back on the mats. I've no doubt that Andy will be calling you to get you back in there to do more work soon, and we look forward to see you back in competition. Take care, mate.
Thank you very much,
See
lad.
you around
See
the
ya.
PFL. Take care.
Yeah, see ya.
I tell you what, in all seriousness, that was super entertaining debut, mate. I know there was a lot of pressure on her. Yeah. You said it last week when we were previewing it. She's come from the world of boxing where she's absolutely cracked the game, and in her athletic prime, she's taken herself out of her comfort zone and put herself in a really vulnerable spot, and boy, did she deliver. That fight or flight, that must resonate with you, mate. Someone cracks you on the whiskers, it's like, here we go then. It's me or you, let's have it.
Mate, honestly, it was the picture-perfect debut in MMA. It went viral. Everyone was sharing it. It had everything. It had up moments, down moments. It was I seen everyone sharing it. Ariel, everybody shared it. All the main people that you want to see your debut, they seen it. They shared it. It was exciting. She said, "Look, I came out my boxing stance a few times, but who cares?" It was exciting. They were having it. It was a tear-up, wasn't it?
It was. It was great, fantastic. She was
great.
The star of the show. There's a couple of other little stars actually that rose from the PFL at the weekend. Before I get to them, a little bit of it. I'll be dead honest. I know you know these boys very, very well. I thought the co-main event just kind of flattered to deceive a touch. I thought maybe took the path of least resistance against Musa, and therefore the fight didn't really kick off. It was grapple heavy for the fight fan, really, wasn't it? It didn't really kick off that co-main, which is a shame because on paper it looked brilliant.
Yeah, it was a snowfest. Let's be honest. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Adam, you're being too polite there, mate. Like,
I'm being polite because you're mates with him, so I'm just being I was just being kind.
I'll tell them both to the face. It's a snowfest. Like, Dylan, he wanted them 2 checks, mate. He had a lot going on before the fight that we previously talked about, and he wanted to get that second check. And sometimes it ain't pretty, Adam, and he just had to get the job done, and he nullified Kane's offense. Fair play to him.
Yeah. A couple of people that I was super impressed with. Jack Grant, brilliant. I mean, a little bit of a Hulk smash through the blooming canvas there, and then gets the job done in very quick fashion. Also very impressed with the young lad, Lewis McGrillen. I know that he struggled... not in the camp because he's a hard-working lad, but when you're coming off the back of your first defeat, you do question yourself a little bit. You've got to realign a few things. And I thought that he came through it on Saturday night very, very well. There's big things ahead for him. He's still a raw diamond. There's still a lot of work to be done, but I thought he navigated the fight very well.
Let me tell you about Lewis McGrillen. He walked into my gym at 13 years old, never done a day's MMA in his life. Like, what's happening, lad? I want to learn MMA. Come on then, son. And I must have been with him 3 or 4 years. Then he ended up with Carl Prince. And when I say that kid is a natural fighter and a natural superstar, he's got the talk, he's got everything going. Had a very, very bad matchup in his last fight. He fought a Brazilian guy from London. And, I mean, I don't know who matched that fight at that stage of his career. It was bad matchmaking. The guy was twice his size, twice his experience.
He came on strong though in the third round, didn't he? I mean, he had a bloody good go in that fight. I know he lost it, but he had a bloody good go.
He did, and he's shown his mettle. But to come back against another guy that I've trained with, Mattis is no joke, and to come back, show very versatile game, mixed in his takedowns. You know, everyone just thought he had that left bomb, but he doesn't. He's a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. And Jack Grant, mate, hold on. Jack Grant is he is a diamond in UK MMA. He's an unbelievable fighter. Look at his last fight. He fought that fella who's got 3 belts in there. He's Abdullakov. Yeah. Sorry, I mispronounced his name. Amazing fight. I thought he beat him too. Hey, and I actually put a bet on that fight because I was like, you know what? And he was a massive underdog. Jack Grant is one of the most underrated fighters in UK MMA, and he actually come out on Saturday night and shown exactly what he can do, mate. Unbelievable performance.
Really good performance. And I think the viral highlight moment was for Chanel Dyer, who obviously is one of Brad Pickett's girls. We all know about her amateur pedigree. She's one of them that a lot of people on the underground have been talking for a period of time, that when she does go pro, when she starts to do a bit, it'll catch fire. Well, it caught fire on Saturday night, because if you deliver a head kick KO in the manner that you delivered the head kick KO, everybody's going to be speaking about you. Fantastic moment for her.
Can't we just set up her in Dakota now and just stop wasting time? Like,
No, I like
that's
them
the fight
both.
for
I
me.
don't want them to fight each other. I like the pair of them. I don't want
I
either of
don't,
them to have a
but
scrap.
I'm actually a proper fan of them both, Adam. They both got crisp, some of the best striking in MMA between them two, and the way they let the hands and legs go in, they're just beautiful. It's great to watch, and that is the fight down the line, and I'll be looking forward to that one. I tell you.
You're a naughty man. Listen, great night for the PFL in Newcastle.
Yeah.
A lot of people sticking head above the parapet and making some serious noise, and long may that train roll on. Over in the UFC, Louisville was the destination, and we had controversy in the main event. Jared Cannonier taking on Nasruddin Imavov. A really tight, close fight, back and forth. At the time of the stoppage, two of the judges had Jared Cannonier up on the cards. I thought it was a little bit... I did it the other way. I'm going to be dead honest. I thought Imavov's striking was a little bit more crisper in that third round, and I edged it towards him. But what we can say is that it was incredibly, incredibly close. We entered the fourth round, and Jason Herzog calls the fight probably a touch too early. I do feel for Jason Herzog because he's one of the best referees in the game. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And we are all human, and we do make mistakes. The one thing that I do like about this, Brennan, and I don't know if you've seen it, he's taken to social media straight away, and we need this. We need transparency from our officials a little bit more. When there is a mistake, when there's a bit of controversy, let's hear from the officials. We're not augurs. We'd want to hear their perspective. And the way that he dealt with this, I thought was brilliant. He just said, listen, in the moment, I saw what I saw and I acted. My job's to obviously protect the fighter. That's what I did. I've watched the video back. I can understand how everybody's coming at me and how everybody has a different take. My job's to get better, and I absolutely will do going forward. As far as I'm concerned, that's done. I know it affects Jared Cannonier's career. I know it might even affect Imavov's career. I know all that. But transparency with officials is absolutely key in these controversial moments.
Yeah, and I do want to touch on what you just said there, because, listen, what a horrible job a referee is. You never get to win, do you? Even if do you know what I mean? It's such a hard job. You've got to make split-second decisions with millions and millions of people watching. You've got two guys' brains on the line. You're responsible for them. Do you know what I mean? It's not an easy job, Adam, and I think in that moment there, Jason Herzog really is the gold standard of referees. Between him and Mark Goddard, they're my two favourite referees. I know this from personal experience because I've just been through it myself with Pedro, and everybody saying, oh, it was an early stoppage and all that. But at the end of the day, it's only the ref and the two fighters that are actually in there. The amount of cameras and all that. But when you look into a man's eyes, like the ref is and like I am, you know when someone's there and they're not there. So it's very, very different being in the moment and seeing into somebody's pupils. You know, it really is a thing, and cameras don't do it justice sometimes. So fair play to Jason and Imavov, man. Dangerous fighter, Adam. Dangerous.
Yeah, he needed it, mate, because he's been one of those guys that has been that decision machine. Great technical fighter. He hasn't really been putting people away. And to stop Jared Cannonier, I know it's premature and people will say, well, did he really stop him? Yeah, he did. He was on the verge of doing something quite spectacular, in my opinion. That's where the momentum was. That's a big finish. Nobody stopped Jared Cannonier in this weight division in the UFC. Imavov's now done it. He's a player at middleweight.
No, mate, he's dangerous, honestly. And I've been a fan of his for a while now. He's ginormous for the weight. He's flashy. He's got all the makings of being a real problem in that weight division. I'm a proper fan of his, I really am.
The big talking point, though, from star power that comes away from Louisville for me, mate, is Dominick Reyes. Check this out. This is MMA for me, right? Because you come in undefeated, you rise and rise and rise, you beat a lot of top contenders, and you get to the John Jones fight. It's world title time now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rock and roll. And Jones does do what Jones does. He gets the decision, but you push him. You push him all the way, and you're really close, but you fall short at the top. The effects that has had on Dom Reyes has been unbelievable. He hasn't had a win in the UFC since 2019. He hasn't fought since 2022. The mental warfare that lad has been on in that period of time is absolutely crackers. So for him to deliver what he delivers at the weekend against Dustin Jacoby, who is a guy coming through, looking really, really good of late, was truly sensational. Honestly, I'm absolutely delighted for him because he must have been in some dark places over the last 5 years, mate.
Well, you touched on the point there. Took John Jones to his limit, and I mean his limit, Adam. That was one of them fights where the right judges, the wrong judges, it could have went the other way. It was very, very close. And what a kick yourself moment, man, getting that close and being within a whisker of beating John Jones, the greatest fighter of all time, and then having to dealing with the fact that, well, a judge robbed me of it and all that starts going through your head. And then your next fight, you're just not the same. He's dig deep into his soul and he's found the old form that got him to John Jones and another contender. Exciting.
Mate, it's weird, isn't it? Because his name was out of the picture. This light heavyweight scene has been... Since Jones went to heavyweight, it's been in flux. It's been all over the place. And it's been a bit of a hot potato, that belt. Obviously, Alex Pereira came along and now he's kind of got everybody excited about the division once again. But Dom Reyes has been a name that nobody's been speaking about. This is a top lad who's just been on a bad run of form since the Jones fight. Now with one win, in the manner that he's done it, he's back in the mix, mate. There's so many great fights. And he's still young enough to have another go.
This is what I love about MMA. Like, the fans are so fickle. Like, they really are. One minute, like, listen, mate, I'm telling you that phone stops ringing when you lose. Now... He's hot topic again. He'll be back on aerial and everyone will be belling him out like, oh, you look great this weekend. But, it'll be water off a duck's back for him now. It'll be absolute water off a duck's back because he knows who's real and who's fake now, mate, because he's been there.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, there's some great performances in Louisville over the weekend. Knockouts galore. The main card had some absolute crackers in there. Few decisions on the prelims, but all in all, a solid night with a bit of controversy as well. One big talking point from the world of UFC over the weekend, because we saw over in Japan that Kai Asakura, the bantamweight champion in Rizin, is vacating his title because he's signed with the UFC. Now, check this out for a controversial statement, my man. We've had some big players from outside of the UFC come to the franchise over the last 5 to 10 years. Big names. And I remember loads of pomp and ceremony around certain fighters. For example, if you remember around Ben Askren, there were loads of chat about him, weren't there? Oh, this guy's the second coming of Jesus. And he's going to come to the UFC and he's going to do all this. Right, okay. We all know how that kind of played out. I'll go as far as to say, as Kai Asakura could be the biggest signing that the UFC have made from a different franchise for the last 10 years. Just because of how big this lad's following is. Japanese fighter, champion in Japan, in the bantamweight division. Go on YouTube and have a little bit of a nosy of how many people watch his fights. 5, 6, 7, 8 million views on his fights. Wow. This dude is a star in Japan, mate. And I would not be surprised that if they sign him, they get him into whatever division he's going to go in, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I reckon the UFC are going to be rocking and rolling in the land of the rising sun very, very soon.
Would you say straight top 10, straight away top 5? They're going to roll him in that way, do you reckon? The Chandler style?
Well, if you think about this, right, the key thing for me is what division does he play in? He's the bantamweight champion, right now.
Right.
But Manel Kape was the bantamweight champion, for example, in Rising. And he came to the UFC and he went, I'm going to go down. Flyweight. We've just been having a massive conversation, haven't we, with Savannah Marshall about weight cutting, and MMA fighters are crazy. So that's the first question. I know he's a big lad. He's 5'8". What does he do? Does he come in as a bantamweight, or does he try and attack flyweight? Now, the reason why I'm highlighting that is because the current champion in flyweight is Alexandre Pantoja, and he's gone through the majority of the division. He needs fresh meat, doesn't he? So if Pantoja's fighting a couple of guys in there. We've obviously got Mo Mokaev, our guy who's fighting Manel Kape. Winner of that's probably going to be fighting for the title against Pantoja. But after that, what is there? If Kai Asakura comes in, makes a flyweight debut and looks good, he could be fighting for the title within his second fight, mate.
Yeah, but what makes you think he can go to flyweight?
I don't. I'm just saying, if he can. Manel Kape did it. Manel Kape came in from bantamweight and he went down to fly.
Yeah, but some guys are on the bone, mate. Like, is this fella on the bone at bantamweight? Because I don't know. I like coming in
because all I'll say is this. Is that bantamweight, there's a lot more contenders.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got your champion in Sean. We've got Mirab, who's been knocking on the door every bloody 2 minutes for that knock, isn't it? And then if you come a little bit further down this running order, you've got Cheeto, who's fighting Davison Figueiredo. Figueiredo, the former champion at Fly, he's looking absolutely sensational right now. So there's a few little obstacles to navigate, let's just say, if he goes straight in at bantamweight. Don't get me wrong, he's going to be fighting a top tenner straight away. When Cap came to, for example, the UFC, he went straight in with Pantoja. He fell short, then he went into Nicolau. Fell short, and then he got his run going. And now he's back at the top of the tree. So I've no doubt that Kai Asakura is going to get there at some point. The first matchup will be a big one. They're not going to mess about with him. It's just, for me, it's going to be interesting what division he decides to play at. I think it will be bantamweight. I think you're right, because he's big. 5'8" for one of them little lads. That's a lot of weight to shift. But if he can make Fly, then all of a sudden I think the path to the championship is a lot quicker.
I get what you're saying 100%, but we needed a world-class Japanese fighter big time. And he's going to bring all them eyes from that side of the world. And it's a massive signing for he's exciting as well, mate. Just before we came on this, I was watching his highlight reel. He is all action. He's not in there overtime. He's in there to get the job done. Exciting fighter, going to bring a lot of eyes. And, I mean, they'll already be salivating at the fact of him fighting Sean O'Malley down the line, let's say. Two guys with big followings, similar styles. And if they can make that down the line, give him one or two and then pull him in that. But like you say, it's very, very clogged up at bantamweight. And you got Merab, who's been knocking for about 6 years, waiting for a shot, mate. Like, you have to go through guys like that first, don't you?
Yeah, man. Yes. He's good on Instagram, though. He's Mirab, isn't he, with the amount of memes that he's making at the moment. I'm enjoying it.
He's an absolute legend. I love his style, mate. I love everything about him. Have you been watching this behind-the-scenes UFC series, mate? Can I just touch on that?
Of course, go.
Mate, how good is this series? I've been watching this, watching these little clips on, you know, did you see the one with Hunter telling off Merab? He said, mate, I've just paid your legal bills. What are you doing? Like, you go and taking jackets off. And I just thought... And then, like, you know, John Jones getting told, the shoulder surgery, you're going to have surgery. And he was like, oh, my God, I don't want to cry in front of you two. I was like, this series is so compelling. And it really gives you a great insight into Hunter and Dana and what they're doing. I know we're going off subject here, but I had to touch on this because I've been captivated on these little clips all week, mate. And it's such a good, I don't know, instructional series that's come out from the UFC. It's just really, really educational for people behind the scenes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the thing is, as an MMA fan or a UFC fan, transparency is always key in it. You want to know how things do materialise because you think you have an idea, and then obviously you want to see how things happen. So therefore, when people are having conversation with fighters about fights and certain people are turning down fights and certain fights are happening and all these types of things, I think everybody knows who follows the UFC that Dana White and Hunter Campbell have an unbelievable relationship, and they're the guys that get the stuff done, right? And it is quite matter of fact the way that they have conversations with people. So we want to do this. Can you do it? No. And it's I think from a fan point of view to be able to see that amount of transparency, and fair play to the UFC for peeling back that curtain, opening that door, and allowing fans to see it when they're having conversations. For example, I saw a conversation that they had with Aljamain Sterling. Yeah. And it was about making a fight and he doesn't know whether he wants to do it and all that type of thing. That doesn't necessarily reflect the fighter in the greatest of light in that particular moment, you know?
I know. But to
be able to highlight it, it just shows the little bumps along the way of what the UFC go through in order to try and get the best shows on. I saw a clip last night, mate, where Dana wasn't fully sold on making Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich for the interim title. He wasn't fully on it. He thought that maybe to replace John Jones, maybe we should do Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira. Listen, I don't think anybody would have mourned if they'd have made that fight, but we could have had a different narrative in the heavyweight division if they'd have gone down the other way compared to what we ended up getting last November in New York. I think it's fascinating, mate. Anything for transparency, peeling back the curtain, I think it's brilliant.
I mean, this Hunter Campbell is a gangster, innit? Let's have it right. That guy is making some strong moves behind the scenes there. I didn't know I didn't know that he was the main man. It looks like he is the main man now. He comes up with all the ideas. Right, I thought of this, and he rings up all the. He seems to be the one pulling all the strings back there at the minute. And what a guy, man! What a great. If you haven't seen it, guys, and you're watching this now, get yourself online and watch this series because it is absolutely fascinating.
Hunter's story into the UFC is he came in as an intern, as a legal intern into the UFC, and he's been promoted. He's been promoted through the ranks over the. I mean, we're talking years and years and years. UFC's been there for 30 years now, and he came in as an intern, learning the craft. Then, obviously, Dana's said, "Well, what about this role? Now, what about this role? Now, what about this role?" And now he's basically Dana's right-hand man, and he is a major player in the way that the matchmaking of the UFC goes down.
Fascinating.
You often hear it, don't you? You often hear it with fighters where they say it's Hunter that gives us the call rather than Dana that gives us the call to suggest X, Y, and Z. It's a fascinating series, like you said.
Yeah, get yourself involved, people. Trust me, you will love this series.
Listen, all well and good. This weekend there's more fights to get stuck into, so we'll be back after Saturday night for a review of the flyweight action that Alex Perez is involved in on Saturday night. And then we'll be gearing up towards this man's fight and the return of the Mac. Because people are tuning in going, have these lads got any information this week? Yeah, we might have a little bit of information. It's on. That's all we're going to tell you. It's on. And we'll see you on the last Saturday of June. Because
can't wait.
Chandler against McGregor is on. And I can't wait to see it, mate. And you'll be there. You'll be there with me in Las Vegas the night after your own fight. Oh, wow. Mate, what's not to love?
I can't wait, mate. Honestly, straight on the first flight out of Sioux Falls. Who's even heard of Sioux Falls? Why are they putting me in Sioux Falls for a fight? South Dakota. Not one person I've ever met in the history of people has been to this place. So I'll go and get my job done and get to a bit of normal civilization over in Las Vegas with the boys. How about that one?
Good, man. What's your travel plans now? Because I know that you're quite meticulous with the way that you work your own camps. Obviously, you're grafting away in Thailand. You're doing your thing. You fight a week of Friday. 2 weeks on Friday, should I say. Yeah. So what's your travel plan?
8 days is the sweet spot. Anything more is too long. Anything less, the jet lag can attack you. As you know yourself, Adam, mate. You've been around the world a few times. 8 days is the sweet spot. Coaches meet me 5 or 6 days out. Couple of days on my own in Sioux Falls. They land, finishing touches, go over the game plan, cut the weight, get the win, and get out of there, mate, and get over to you and go and watch the Notorious do his thing. Can't wait.
There you go. That's how Brendan Loughnane does his thing.
Can't wait.
Taking necks and cashing checks, baby. That's how we're rolling. Listen, thank you very much for tuning in to us. Please subscribe to the talkSPORT MMA YouTube channel. It is growing and it's going to get even bigger when we get to UFC 303 week. Because like I said, this man's fighting on Friday night. Notorious is fighting on Saturday night. It's a big week for British and Irish MMA that week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Plenty of stuff coming your way over the next couple of weeks as we build up towards it. So we'll catch you next time.